Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Essay Writing in English. This is week 13, video 2. And like I did last week, I'm going to share with you some feedback, one sentence at a time from some of the writing, some of the paragraphs that you've submitted. And I'm using picture-in-picture option this week because I haven't seen you guys in a long time. I thought I would change it up a little bit, and I am coming to you from my office in Daegu. So this will be our last regular lesson. Next week will be a review for the final exam, and I'll explain to you in detail what to expect and how you need to prepare so that you can do well on the final exam. For today, I have collected several sentences from some of your paragraphs that you've written over the past 8 weeks or so, and I'm going to show you how I would fix them and give you a little assignment. All right, so the first one here is, in conclusion, I think the programmer will get the highest paying after 50 years. So this is talking about what jobs do you think will pay the most money in the future, right? This was the end of the paragraph, so in conclusion, that's fine. Usually we make this plural. So I think, I think that programmers will be the highest, you could change this to highest paid employees. And then, not after, you don't need to use after here. You need to use the preposition in. So this is one way you could do it. In conclusion, I think that programmers will be the highest paid employees or people in 50 years. If you want to change it to just singular, you can also do that. In conclusion, I think that programmer will be the highest paid. Now we're not talking about people, we're talking about a job, one job. And I'm going to change this now because we're not talking about person, we're talking about the job. I think that programmer will be the highest paying job because it's like the job, it gives you money, right? So in conclusion, I think that programmer would be the highest paying job in 50 years. Okay, so that's a couple of ways that you could fix that one. This one was about, I think the sentence before this one talked about robots playing in the Olympics and how we would like that. Let me just make a little note here. So the person said that might be interesting. It may be interesting, but it would be meaningless than a person playing a game in person. So then basically comparing a robot playing in the Olympics to a real person playing in the Olympics. And I agree. I think that would. But it would be because of the than, we're comparing things, right? So you could say it would be more meaningless than a person playing. But I'm going to change this just to make it a little bit less confusing. Than a person, we'll say, competing in the Olympics. Usually we use the verb compete to talk about the Olympics. So it may be interesting, but it would be more meaningless than a person competing in the Olympics. That one's okay. There's something else, though, that you can do to make this one even better. And you can keep the word meaningless. So here's what we'll do. It may be interesting, but it would be, take out the more, meaningless. And now I'm just going to add in the words compared to. This makes all the difference here. This makes the sentence perfect. It may be interesting, but it would be meaningless compared to a person competing in the Olympics. So a robot competing in the Olympics would be meaningless compared to a person competing in the Olympics. And this would be my preferred way of fixing that sentence right there. Okay. This one, this is talking about a friend. And I think the sentence before this said something like, we have many things in common, or we do a lot of things together. And this is this mistake here is something that I noticed students in Korean students do this a lot. I think because in Korean you probably say something like "특히" and start your sentence with that, but in English we can't. It's very, very rare that you can start a sentence with "especially," and definitely not in this situation. What you can do though is say, and the reason why is because especially is like an adverb. So we especially like baseball, right? Basketball. We like many sports, but we especially like basketball, right? So you can say it like that. So here, we like many sports, but we especially like basketball. Or you could also say, you could also do it like this. You could also use this guy here, this little dash here. We like many sports, especially basketball. You can use especially in either case there, no problem at all. But in this case, we can't. What the word or phrase you want here to serve this purpose is something like in particular. You can start a sentence with that. In particular, we like basketball. So we used to play together on weekends, and then I'm just going to copy and paste that because the rest of that is just perfect. This one though we can change up, but the preferred food is a little different. So, whoops, I just want to. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I just want to copy this one. And so what this writer is saying here is we like different foods, right? I prefer one food, he prefers a different food. And so the way you would want to say that is, but we like different foods. Or you could say we have different tastes or preferences when it comes to food or foods. Okay, so either of those would work. We like different foods. Or we have different tastes, different preferences when it comes to food. Okay, that covers that one. Okay. This one, there's nothing particularly wrong with it, but I just want to focus in on this word meat. It just, there's nothing really wrong with it, but when you use meat in a situation like this, it just doesn't sound like a native speaker. And it's usually, I don't care, like the goal should not be to always sound like a native speaker. But when there's something that's common like that happens a lot, and that's pretty easy to fix, then I don't mind taking some time to let you know how you can fix that to sound very natural, because it's pretty easy to do. So I'd like to meet him. So meet, you can use meet like this, but usually we use meet when you're meeting for the first time. So the more common way to use to say this sentence would be, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him often, or you could even put in more often than I do, but now he's in the army. So that would be one great way to fix that. Another way you could say is in Korean, when you spend time with someone, you use 놀다, but in English we say hang out with, unless you're a child. So you could say, I'd like to hang out with him more often, right? But I can't because now he's in the army. So either of these would be great ways to fix that, to make it a bit more natural. Now you sound like a native speaker, like completely like a native speaker if you use either of these. Okay, let me go ahead and bold the sentences that I've changed here, so they're easier to see. And I'll put this in the file section on Canvas, so you can refer back to this, especially when doing your homework and quiz, because I'll ask you to write some sample sentences based on these. Okay, this one was about Namsan Tower in Seoul. So the previous sentence gave the height, but now it's saying, but it seems to be higher than that because it sits on a mountain, right? So the tower appears much higher. However, perfect. This is great because it is built. You could use it is or it was built. It was if you want to focus on the past, the history, the fact that they built it there, or you could just say it is built, using built sort of as an adjective, like it's built on a mountain, it's located on a mountain. So you don't need to worry too much about which of those you choose. Either would be fine. So because it's built on, but here we haven't talked about mountain yet, so we can't use the, because we don't know exactly what mountain we're talking about. It hasn't been named yet. So here we need to change the article to because it's built on a mountain that is about 240 meters high. Okay. Now, though, if I wanted to talk about mountain again, now I could, right? Because I already mentioned it once here with an generic, general, and now I'm going to be specific because I'm referring back to this mountain that I already talked about. So the mountain is called blah, 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 or the mountain is located in such and such a part of Seoul, or whatever. And the second time you say it, you would use the. All right, and I'll just do that. So, and let me bold that one as well. Okay. Also, I listen to it regardless of genre because each genre gives a new feel. Okay, so this is talking about music. And the writer's saying, I listen to all kinds of music. This one, the thing I want to focus on here is this because this is a fragment, because each genre gives a new feeling. Okay. So these two actually need to be connected. You can use because to start a sentence, but this is not, right now, this is a dependent clause. It needs to be connected to another one. So I'm going to fix the grammar, the punctuation here without messing around with the words too much. So also, I listen to music regardless of genre because each genre gives a new feeling. And I'm going to add me, just gives me a new feeling. Okay. So that's how you could do that. Now, if you want to see an example of using because at the beginning of a sentence correctly, here's what you can do. Because each genre gives me a new feeling. Now I have to put a comma, and then I can say because of this, because each genre gives me a new feeling, I listen to all kinds of music, for example. Now You used because at the beginning of the sentence, but it is okay because the complete thought is here. Because this happens, I do this. So it's a sort of a cause and effect situation. Okay. But if we're just fixing the original sentence, I listen to it regardless of genre because each genre gives me a new feeling. Okay, so both of these are good now. No matter how much your friends tell you to buy Samsung phone, I prefer iPhone to another mobile phone for several reasons. Okay. All right. To buy a Samsung phone, I prefer iPhone to another mobile phone. So this one, you could do a couple things because we are comparing Samsung and Apple. And I'm just going to say Apple here. It's like, because we're talking about companies. I prefer Apple to hold on a second. Let me copy that. We can still see the original one. I prefer Apple to Samsung for several reasons. Now that's perfect, right? Now it's perfect. If you want to not just compare the two, but kind of keep that idea that you're comparing all the different phones out there, like including Apple, LG, Nokia, whatever. What you could do is this: no matter how much your friends tell you to buy a Samsung phone, I prefer Apple to other, not another, other mobile phones for several reasons. Because now it's not just another is just one other, right? But we're talking about in general to other mobile phones for several reasons. Okay, this one was about living in the Philippines, studying in the Philippines, and the friends said, be careful because there are pickpockets and they might take your phone. So they asked me, they asked me to watch out for my cell phone often, but one day my roommate, Jace, was pickpocketed of his cell phone. Okay, so here's what I would do here. And I'm just going to type this in. I know it's friends because of the previous sentence, but I'll just type that in here for context. And let me, hold on a second, I forgot again. Copy, move it down here, paste that. Okay, and my friends, you could say asked, but it's more like they're telling you to be careful, right? So they're not asking you to be careful. They're saying, hey man, it's dangerous here, be careful. So they told me to watch out for my cell phone. And they said often, but to be more natural, what we would do here is say always. Well, my friends always told me to watch out for my cell phone, or to. So you want to watch out for pickpockets, right? You want to watch out for them. But here you want to keep an eye on my cell phone. But one day my roommate Jace's cell phone got pickpocketed. Best way to do this one. So, and my friends always told me to keep an eye on my cell phone. One day my roommate Jace's cell phone got pickpocketed. That's how you would say that. Our house had to cross a pedestrian crossing in front. So this writer was talking about after university going back home, and there was a busy street. I think his friend got hit by a car. So in front of a university. So I think going from middle school to university. Okay. So here's what I would say here. To get home from school, we had to cross. And the rest is okay. I wouldn't mess with it. A pedestrian crossing, or we had to cross a busy street, you could also say. I would actually say do this. We had to, because you know it's a pedestrian crossing because you're walking across the street. So the important thing here is that it's probably a busy street or a street, maybe. So to get home from school, so we left middle school to get home. We had to cross a busy street in front of a university, because we don't know the name of it. We haven't been told yet. It's just right now. It's just a general random university, and we don't know about it yet. So that's how I would fix that one. And then this one, the student was talking about the movie Parasite and trying to describe the sun. So the son of this family, let me hold on a second. I always forget to copy and paste. The son of this family works part-time in English. Okay, in English, but what does he do? And he works for a family. So the son of this family works part-time as an English tutor or teacher for a rich family. And that is how you would fix that one. The son of this family, or the son in this family, or this family's son, works part-time as an English tutor or teacher for a rich family. Okay, that is it for my feedback here. I would like you to choose 5 of these sentences that I fixed and write them. So choose 5 sentences that I fixed. Write, use them as examples to write your own sentences. Write the original first, then write on. For example, so I'm going to choose one of these. I'll take this one, okay? So to get home from school, we had 2, and so I'm going to copy again, paste, and I'm going to change it. To get home from school, I'll change it. I had 2. Transfer 3 times on the subway. I rode the subway, I had to transfer 3 times. Okay, or I'll do another one. To get home, I had to ride the subway for more than 1 hour. Right? So there's one. So that would be one example, right? That would be one. Okay, and then, but do that for 5. Do that for 5 in an online discussion there in week 13. That'll be online discussion video 2. All right, that is it for today. Next week, I'll be breaking down the final exam for you and giving you some study tips and giving you a bit of a review. If you have any questions, send me a message on Kakao. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.